Welcome to Production Pioneers, the podcast where we explore the cutting edge technologies and visionary leaders transforming how we make, grow, and create. I'm Kevin Durkin, CEO of Quant-Tek AI, and today I'm excited to be joined by Kyle Kornfeld from Quick and Pure Ice Systems. Kyle, welcome to Production Pioneers. How are you today?
I'm well. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, sure. So, Kyle, for the listeners who might not be familiar with Quick and Pure, can you tell us what your company does and what problems you're solving in the convenience store space?
Absolutely. So we patented and manufacture a retail-ready automated bagged ice solution for it's a replacement for delivered ice for the retail industry, C stores, liquor stores, grocery stores. Um, it's an automated self-sufficient system, self-contained, and essentially what it's going to do is it's going to make the ice, it's going to put it in a bag, and then it's going to seal that bag all on its own, no human intervention. And it's really designed to, arm the stores with the ability to reach their sales ceiling, right? So increase their sales velocity. It's also making a 10-pound bag of ice, which is more premium in the ice industry instead of a standard industry 7-pound bag. Sometimes you see 8 or 5, but the industry standard is usually 7. Um, it's also made on demand, live on site right there. And it isn't a vending machine, right? So the big thing we tell people is it's not a vending machine like the ones you see outside. It seals itself and it's going to fill up full of bags before the customers come into the store. So it's the same customer experience as though it were delivered and full already, except it's always going to keep itself full. And then as consumers buy and consume out of the freezer, it's going to make it when they're not there, keeping itself full all day.
So no more 3 or 4 big chests outside, one inside, and hopefully the ice guy gets there on time when it's 95, when
Yeah,
the
more
chest is
reliable
empty.
trucks. Yep.
That is really cool. Um, Speaking of ice, where I'm from in good old Green Bay, Wisconsin, north of here, about 15 minutes, 10 minutes, was huge ice making facility back in the 1800s. And what they did is they cut the ice, pulled it off the lake, put it into the ice houses, and then traditionally, shipped it to the Milwaukee, Chicago, Des Moines, that kind of stuff. The ice delivery model, though, has been around forever. What's inspired Quick and Pure to completely reimagine how convenience stores handle bagged ice?
I think it's the dependency on trucks and logistics, right? So whether we talk post-COVID or pre-COVID, labor and fuel is going to continue to rise, and having the tools and the innovation to be able to um, make as much ice as their store demands on site, but without having the labor piece, right? So big difference between having an ice maker in the back room and having your employees bag ice by hand, right? So it's really the best of both worlds without taking the sort of industry triggers to count. It's really autonomy. What we're talking about is store autonomy, right? It's as if a store what's their high it's let's say a store's highest selling item is beer. It's as if they had the capability to bottle beer in their back room without a human, right? They just had a robot bottling beer all day long and or packing cigarettes all day long for sales, right? I think
No,
tobacco's
I'd hate the beer one. The cigarettes you can have, but
for sure. So look, we think we're innovating around a sustainable model and a sustainable solution that really tackles the over the next 10, 20, 30, 50 years, the trends, as far as labor and fuel that, we're tackling that using AI and innovation on the back end, right? There's also a big difference between putting a nice machine in the store with or without technology, right? So the real horsepower in the machine is the remote capabilities. So we can log into any machine across the country, hear from Phoenix. We can troubleshoot diagnostics, analytics. We can keep the machines running 99.9% time virtually without sending someone in the store. I think the last metrics I looked at were 9 out of 10 service tickets are handled remotely. So we're extremely efficient in that regard. And so a machine armed with modern technology really gives the stores all the horsepower they need to rise to the occasion and sell as much ice as they possibly can.
well, that was my next question is, what's your technology that, first, we had old school delivery. Tell me what's happening inside the machine when it comes to technology, unless you don't want to give it away to your competitors. And
No,
I'll
look,
respect.
most of it's patented. I appreciate the question, and I can be fairly vague and detailed at the same time about it. It's a combination of sensors and programming, and modems and technology that allows us to remote in, so we've got a signal in and out, but then also at every point in the function of the machine, we've got sensor technology that allows us to know what's happening from afar, right? So it's in effect like having a camera at every point of the machine, but just different types of sensing. And so that really allows us to know at every point in the machine what's happening, when it's happening, and we can also see the interaction the store is having with the machine. So we can see when, for example, when someone's opening the door and grabbing a bag of ice, we can see that. If the store is offloading ice for a busy holiday and getting ahead of the curve with some strategic backstocking, we can also see that. We could see if the machine is level, not level, how long it's been level. So, there's an abundance of data. We're sort of like the Tesla of ice machines, right? We have an abundance of data, and that's how we process and analyze that data to be able to tell the story and service the equipment.
So is the model that the person still goes to the front desk, buys it, and then opens the door and grabs it? Is that
Either
correct?
or. So the bags do have UPCs, so they can grab it and go to the checkout, or they can prepay and then grab and go.
Okay. Uh, is there future reference where they can just swipe and grab?
So yeah, so our Gen 2 machine had a vending style sort of credit card reader. When you introduce something like that, you are inherently going to deal with shrinkage, right? So somebody swiping once, grabbing five, no different than today when the freezers are out front, they pay for one and grab six kind of thing. And so our generation two machines did have those credit cards readers, and we still have that capability if we want to. We've seen our customers and we have seen way more success putting machines inside, not outside, pulling the traffic inside, and then also just having it open. They can grab what they need, or they can pay for it and then grab. And the clerks can see the employees can see when they walk out how many they have.
Well, for those that don't know, everybody's seen the big ice machines outside the convenience store. What's the size comparison with these? Is it half the size, about the same, taller, skinnier?
Certainly depends on the model. The big ice islands that you see out in the parking lots, those are significantly larger. Our smallest machine right now is about 4 feet wide, 9 feet tall. It's a little bit taller on the tall side, but you've got multiple components there.
Yeah.
It's really designed for the large format C stores that are popping up, right? The Quick Trips of the world, the Mavericks, the Bucky's, and all the way up to our largest machine, which is 8 feet wide.
Okay.
So there's different formats, and they're all comparable. Our smallest machine is about the size of that outdoor water ice vending machine that you see at a lot of gas stations. That's usually broken.
Let's talk about your business model. You
Yeah.
you offer these systems with no upfront costs to store owners. How's that work, and kind of what drove that decision?
Yeah. So, me and the partners, we've always been fans of the razor blade model, right? So,
And you
in
got to come again on that?
razor blade, right? So you've got the consumable piece and the stationary,
Ah,
right? So you sell or give a machine away, and then the residual from the consumable side of that model is really the attractive piece, right? It scales really well. It benefits the customers. It also sells well, right? So if you're a independent C store owner with 5 to 10 stores and buying a expensive piece of equipment times 10 is going to be quite the capital, right? For a small business owner. So where we see the value that we can provide is providing that asset, keeping it on our books, maintaining it, servicing it, providing that one-stop value, and then engaging in a partnership on the consumable bag side of the business. So we also produce the bags. And so the structure is really, we're going to invest in this partnership in this store with you. And then as you consume and as you sell more and more and more ice, we're both going to realize the profits and the gains together.
So speaking of customers, how do you acquire new convenience store partners?
Man, it really runs the gamut. I mean, if we're talking about some of the largest chains in the world, that's certainly through networking and grow climbing the ladder, so to speak, right? So our first store ever was a local 7-Eleven here in Arizona. The franchisee loved it. He really did a good job advocating for us, and so we let the product speak for itself, sort of thing. And then as the customer experience grew and the product benefits were realized, I think word spread in the bigger chains. But in the smaller chains, we can leverage digital lead gen. We do a lot of strategic sales, right? So it's meeting C-store owners, meeting retailers across the country in the markets that we're growing in, and networking, right? So you've got a little bit of old and new all combined.
So, what is your go-to-market strategy for reaching stores and major chains? Is it that you're set up with franchisees? Is it that you have direct sales? Is it
Both.
okay?
Yeah, so I mean, the C-store industry, while there's what I think last I looked, 196,000 C-stores in America, something like that. It, there is, how do I say, we can reach them in many different ways, whether it's a franchisee or a corporate entity, whether it's digital or with the human touch. We're it feels like a big industry, and at the same time, it's a very small industry, right? So you put one innovative machine in Dallas, and by the time the year's out, you've got 1,000 phone calls from other Dallas C-store owners, right? And then it goes to the other cities, and you work with the co-ops, you work with the corporate entities, and the big and small chains. We have found as a uh, scaling small business, we have found really the most success with some of those regional SMBs, right? So the 500 to 1,000 stores that are still small enough where they can be nimble and make quick decisions, but also realize the benefits of innovation. And also, they're in many cases the ones that are hit the hardest when supply chain shrinks and delivery companies don't have as much ice to give them, right? So during COVID, when we had layoffs and we had um, we had to stay inside, the delivery companies thought that sales would go down, and so there was I wouldn't say a shortage, but it was tough to get ice during that period. Delivery stopped, supply chain shrunk, as you know, in many industries, and so most of the capacity that was being produced in those few years was going to the big box stores, right? So um, I don't need to name them. The big box stores were the ones getting really most of the capacity, and so the little guys were not getting deliveries, and they seemed to be the most affected. So when we start talking about post-COVID, that's really where our values screamed the loudest post-COVID was the regional SMBs and all the way down to the independents that were really struggling to get bagged ice. Deliveries were few and far between, intermittent during the busiest times of the year, Memorial Day, Labor Day, 4th of July, they were out. And our machine really provides that solution so they don't have to stress about it anymore. But also there's no cost of capital. So they can just sign up, and as long as they qualify for the machine, we'll come in and we'll partner with them. And so I think that was really where we strike while the iron's hot, and that's where the story begins. And then the next couple of years, we've just been working with anyone and everybody as we scale strategically across the country.
I'm going to jump to operational side in a second, but which marketing channels have been the most effective for you guys at Quick and Pure? Are you focusing on trade shows, digital sales, digital marketing,
I,
partnerships, C-store
yeah,
associations?
I think our biggest penetrator is going to be probably tied between trade shows and digital lead gen. Um, Digital
Can you
marketing, like traditional digital marketing.
can you define that for me?
Yeah, absolutely. So traditional digital marketing like SEO and uh, social and content creation and stuff like that really didn't have as big of impact as we hoped it would. And I think that's probably what we learned from that was, C-store and retailer owners, whether independent or large, some of the large chains are definitely more active on social media, but the smaller independents and SMBs are really, they're rolling up their sleeves and they're elbows deep in their business day to day. And so
So
they may
that
not,
they're not living on their phone or on their computer.
yeah, they're entrepreneurs just like us, right? And so we meet them at trade shows, we meet them at co-ops and different regional entities that we partner with and outreach that way. Mass email marketing and digital marketing really didn't have an impact. It did have an impact, however, greatly on the brand, right? So growing the brand, creating awareness, creating traffic, and that sort of thing, great. But in terms of converting sales, pounding the pavement, door knocking, and really showing people what our machine's all about is really where we see the most value and the most return.
On the operational side, what are some of the biggest challenges facing you guys right now, whether the supply chain issues, logistics, service,
I have
maintenance at
to,
scale?
yeah, I have to say I'm really proud of the Quick and Pure team here in this regard. There really is not a ton that I could point to of challenges. We've got great project coordination. We've got great installers. We've got great service people. I mean, if I had to grasp at straws to find one thing, I would say over the next 5 years, maybe not now a struggle, but looking outwardly, trades are probably going to be the toughest piece over the next 5 to 10 years.
What's going to be the toughest piece? I'm sorry,
The
about
trades, the trades,
trades.
so plumbers, electricians,
Boy,
looking
isn't
for,
that truth?
yeah, good quality tradespeople. Um, I think we'll probably thin out over the next decade. Today we've got great partners. I mean, we really have done a great job organizing and scaling in that regard. But yeah,
Uh,
over the next 10 years, that's where it's going to be.
is there a region of the company country that you're more, um, is the east, the south, are you stronger in any of these? And are you looking to expand into other areas? And
Yeah, we have our 5 year plan is pretty aggressive, and all backed by sound data, right? So, but to answer your question directly, because we started and we're based in Phoenix, our story started in the Southwest, right? So we are densest in the Southwest, and then over the last 3 or 4 years, as we've scaled year over year, it just kind of goes out from there, right? But in the net, by the end of next year, by the end of 27, 28, I think by the end of this year, we'll probably be coast to coast, and then we'll get even denser over the next 3 to 5.
so Southwest and Midwest, from what I understand. Is that what I heard?
Yeah, so right now we're Southwest all the way up north into Washington, all the way out into the Midwest, and then over the next 2 quarters we'll bleed out to east, and then along the south and then up, and yeah, I mean it'll just get denser from there.
Have you heard from any competitors regarding this? The ice stores, the delivery guys. I'd be curious what they say. Feedback.
Yeah, they don't necessarily engage us directly, but there's definitely some passive aggression going on. I'll keep it PG there.
Yeah.
But we're definitely disrupting. I mean, it is disruptive.
I,
The
I
under
would I would imagine that you are a disruption, to say the least. You take out so many different parts of the business and isolate it into one. Um, it's huge, and if you have a reliable machine and good service, I could see this thing exploding.
Yeah, I mean, it's really what we're dealing with, right? So it is exploding. Um, but remember, it's capital intense on the front end for us, not for the customer, but it's extremely capital intense for us because we're paying for everything going in before we realize the revenue.
How
And
long does
so
it take to recover that revenue? Is it 12 months, 18 months, 2 years, 3 years?
sub 2 years, I'll say sub two
I would
years.
have figured. I would have figured about 18 to 24 months. Yeah.
Yeah, sub 2 years. I mean, it all depends on the volume, right? But you did make a good point. I sort of echo is the reliability and the serviceability, right? The competitors that are out there that are trying to automate and compete, that's the Achilles heel. Uh, and that's really what we're most proud of. We think we are probably the only ones in the market that has solved for service, right? So between the remote technology and the remote fleet services team, troubleshooting and 24/7, keeping machines running 24/7. The other piece to that is strategically placed senior techs in the field, right? So our response time is same day, anywhere in the country, and the remote troubleshooting is instantaneous. But then we also have, even ahead of that, we have intelligent programming and AI to sort of what we would call self-care mode, right? So there are many elements of the machine that if it fails or faults, this machine will fix itself before we even have to inject a remote services person. So there's a lot of intelligence happening there in the background.
So is that an artificial intelligence? Is that a self-diagnostics type thing? Go before it hits AI?
Yeah, it's definitely, yeah, I use AI as an umbrella term like most of the world today. There's definitely a mix of programming and deeper intelligence going on. The deeper intelligence piece is probably less than the programming. What's really powerful is the learning as it goes, as well as the digestion of the data, and then the analytics and the forecasting after that, right? So being able to know what's happening now and also look to see what's going to happen tomorrow and in the future, right? So a good example of that would be our shipping of the bags, our distribution of the bags for the machines. It's automated. The machines know when how many are on the machine, how many bags are left on the machine, and how many are in inventory. And so there is a triggering point at which the last roll from inventory goes on the machine and it automatically triggers a shipment to the store. Um, it's a sort of a beautiful, seamless process. The stores don't have to call and order more. They don't have to put a PO in. And it's really designed to just be hands-off, seamless, and reliable. And so that serviceability component is really where we brag about that the most because we can keep these machines running day and night for the customers.
That is awesome. So when it comes to building your team, what are the main challenges you're facing, and whether it's hiring, uh, field technicians, sales reps? What do you run up against?
I think our biggest challenge is we're having too much fun, to be honest, Ken.
Oh,
I
that's
mean,
ice cold, baby.
I'm telling you, the team is locked in. They're jumping out of bed every morning. They're coming in early. They're staying late everywhere in every market that we're in. Um, and everybody's just excited. We're disruptors and we're having a ton of fun with it. Uh, there really is not there really I can't point to something. We're just having a lot of fun with it. If anything, the challenge is making the decisions of who gets the next allocation because it is exploding and we are doing things very strategically,
Oh, when you
right?
say allocation, you mean what comes off the production line and who gets it where?
Yeah, where's it going? Right? Who are we giving machines to? Who's working really well with us? Who's been a good partner to us? Um, and continuing to work strategically, right? I mean, if we just drink through the fire hose and say yes to everybody, it'd be great, but that requires a level of scale that I don't think anybody's figured out in the history of business, right? So we like to do things strategically and work with our customers so that we don't leave anybody behind, right? If we're going to do business with somebody, we're going to do it to the best of our ability. They're going to get the machines we promised them in the stores we promised them, and we're going to do it right.
Well, I had stepped on this in a couple questions back, and if you're going with distributors and sales reps, is there a breakdown between like does the sales rep get the major accounts and the distributors get everything else? Is that
We don't have distributors, so we're
or
yeah.
franchisees? I apologize.
Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, so it's direct to the stores or the chains, right? If we're working with a corporate entity. And the sales reps are managing them as they get them, right? It's keep what you kill kind of thing. And um yeah, the strategic decisions are more at the high level of geography, where are we going next, with which customer, right? Many of our current customers look, we have pretty good track record of customers who take machines usually keep them because they work, right? And then they ask for more. That's usually how it's been going. And so it's planning those national rollouts with the bigger partners, and then working as we grow nationally with larger partners, feathering in the independents and the SMBs along the way. So it's really doing the efficient, dense rollouts, right? Oh, hey, we're going to go to Maine, or we're going to, Florida, and we're going to do these 500 stores, and then we're going to feather in another 100 independents and SMBs that are also on the list, right? Um, if there's anything, it's being able to talk to as more people, right? We work every day to engage with everybody, whether they're taking a machine or getting one or not, whether they want one or not, right? Talking to them, learning their challenges, learning what they're dealing with, and hearing what their struggles are, because we're innovators, right? And so the machine we started with 5 years ago is not the machine that's going out today. It's a different machine. It's an enhanced machine. It's got more technology, more enhancements, more engineering in it. And so we're constantly taking the feedback loop from the field and constantly innovating and constantly making it better. Because at the end of the day, we have to deliver not just for the stores, but the stores end customer is our customer, right? The American public, the worldly public, when we go international, is the consumer. The family on the beach for 4th of July weekend that grabs a bag of ice out of a rusty freezer out front, and they got to throw it on the ground to break it up, and it melts within 2 hours in their Yeti cooler. That's not a great experience, right? Their drinks are wet. Their drinks are not cold by dinner. Whereas our dense crescent cube ice is going to last all day and into the next day. Laborers love going to our stores with ice because they buy 60 bags and they stuff their coolers. They go out to the oil fields of West Texas and it holds till the next day. And so it's really about delivering a premium experience and a premium product with our store customers to the end consumers, right?
Uh, can you explain that again? The ice is lasting. Well, how's that happen?
Yeah, so it really comes down to how it's made, right? So the big manufacturer delivered ice, hammer tie type extruded system, there's a lot of air in it, right? So it's looser ice that fuses together in those freezers, and over time it just sticks together. So that's where you get those blocks. You throw them on the ground to break it up and loosen it up before you put it in the cooler. Ours is being made on site with a Hoshizaki ice maker, right? So it's a 1-inch crescent cube. It's cascaded over the ice maker as it makes the ice. And so it's making a 1-inch dense crescent cube with very little air in it, crystal clear, and and then it's 10 pounds of that, sealed, hermetically sealed in a bag. And so it just pure density, it's going to last longer.
So are you seeing traditional ice delivery companies trying to adapt against this then? Or, against your model?
Yes and no. I think Ready Ice did try to do this a long time ago. I mean, 10 or 15 years ago, they tried to do, I think they called it the ISB program, where they did in-store bagging with similar ice makers, right? Similar Hoshizaki ice makers. And again, I think the Achilles heel in what we're doing is the serviceability and reliability component, right? If you can't service it's at the end of the day, it's a machine, and things are going to go wrong with machines and robots always. And so you have to be able to service them. You have to be able to keep them running. Otherwise, you're out of business. And so I think that's really the piece. It isn't, we're not reinventing the wheel as far as making ice goes. Hoshizaki has the Bugatti of ice makers. They're a great ice maker, but it's about keeping it running. And so we're building an infrastructure and a network that allows us to tackle what we know is the failure points or possible failure points.
So you offer some custom branding options like bags, the outsides of the machines, digital displays. Are stores jumping on that and using that for their marketing as well? And what
Oh
kind
yeah.
of, yeah, you've got some pretty good response from that.
Oh yeah. It's funny. There's a business here in Phoenix called Trevor's. It's a really unique take on a night experience out, right? A night out type experience. They've got these Trevor's locations are bars, cigar lounges, restaurants, and golf simulators all in one. and a C store on the wing, right? So it's like everything you need for a night out. Um, I think what we found interesting when we started working with them was we found on the internet Dave Portnoy had done a pizza review there, and so it just exploded, put them on the map, exploded their exposure and their foot traffic, and so we talk about private labeling. Their machine in here in Phoenix and the stores that we're doing with them, they did a whole custom overhaul of the outside of the machine, and it looks absolutely stunning. So we have the capabilities to custom wrap it, custom bags, whatever the stores want to do or what they engage in. I think the most common one is the HMI screen on the machine that's digital. We can quickly put a logo or a marquee on there where stores can advertise what they'd like.
Nice. Uh, we're getting down to it. I could sit here and talk to you all day about this. But looking 5, 10 years ahead, what's your vision for Quick and Pure? Are there new markets, technology, products you're exploring beyond convenience stores?
Absolutely. I think it's two-part answer, right? So there's the known markets, liquor stores, grocery, um, hotels, right? Everybody using restaurants, people using ice, bagged ice. The future innovation or future machines, I'm going to keep that a little on the lid and just say you guys should keep watching us and watch for exciting updates along the way. We've got some debuts coming up here that are going to be pretty even more disruptive. So yeah, we're all in. We're excited to continue disrupting, but more importantly, we're just excited to bring the experience and the product to the public. Right? I mean, it's a great product, and we love it. We're passionate about it. Yeah, keep don't count us out. Keep watching us.
I did not ask earlier, who founded Quick and Pure? How'd this all come about? The technology, the
Yes. So there was a gentleman years ago that invented the machine, and then we ended up procuring the IP and the designs to the machine, and then scaling it into Quick Appear.
cool. What advice would you give to fellow entrepreneurs trying to disrupt established industries with entrenched business models?
It's a
Hmm.
good question. It's a really good question. It's grit, right? It's grit and it's passion. Being willing to not only it's kind of the given cliche of you got to outwork everybody, right? I mean, we're going over here 24/7, the life of an entrepreneur, but I also think it comes down to product quality, and you have to care about delivering. You can't lose sight of delivering a quality product. If you deliver a quality product that does disrupt and it's innovative, um, the quality will do the talking, and then you just have to work your tush off.
For anyone who wants to learn more about Quick and Pure or exploring becoming a partner, where can they find you online or connect with you and you or your team?
Yeah, we're most present on LinkedIn, and our website has a ton of information forms and literature and videos and all cool things. YouTube, we're on YouTube as well. But you could call us, text us, email us. We're pretty easy to get a hold of.
Awesome. Well, folks, Kyle Kornfeld from Quick and Pure Ice Systems, thank you for joining Production Pioneers podcast. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe, leave us a review, share this episode with someone interested in retail innovation and smart technology. Until next time, this is Kevin Durkin, CEO of Quant-Tek, and your host of Production Pioneers. Keep innovating, keep growing, and keep making a difference. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, guys.